If everyone listening just carves out 5 minutes a day, right, to really create a connection with their breath, and all the connection you need to do is really to just create a deep breath. Yoga and meditation has just really helped me just to really just unleash the depth within me and power within me, physically and mentally, that I didn't even know I had.
Spartans, listen up.
We need to sleep better. So how do you sleep better? Never thought about it before. And so I met Jack, I met Essentia. Pay attention to the mattress you sleep on because it's loaded with chemicals.
Recovery, cooling, and pressure relief, all in one mattress. Up to 60% more deep and REM sleep. Less inflammation, faster bounce back. No toxins, no EMFs, no BS.
My buddy Jack over at Essentia, he's kind enough to give us a code for the Spartan community. That's DECA, that's Tough Mudder, all of us. Use Spartan25, get a discount. Prioritize your sleep so you can sleep faster, you can do more burpees, you can train more, you can get healthier. When you sleep well, you live well.
Welcome to the Hard Way podcast with Joe DeSena, founder and CEO of Spartan Races. We're teaching you how to overcome your obstacles in your life the same way we teach our 10 million plus Spartans to overcome obstacles on the course, with insight from the smartest, most accomplished experts from every corner of the world. Get ready to elevate your life today.
Joe DeSena here, CEO and founder of Spartan, host of the Hard Way podcast. Got my buddy Will Schneider on. Will is soon to be the Chief Mindfulness and Meditation Officer for the United States of America. This guy's been teaching meditation for 15 years, grew up in PA. Most importantly, lives in Queens. That's how I knew he was a good guy. And welcome aboard, sir.
Thanks. Great to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me on today, Joe. Really appreciate it.
You know, the listeners want to know, why do you only help men? Why are you leaving all the women behind?
Well, I think it's really important to stay niche, stay focused. You know what I mean? It's easier to focus on men, and being a man, I can definitely relate to men with some of the common struggles that we have as men. And, you know, by helping men, I'm actually creating better relationships with and for women, you know? So actually, I am helping women by helping men. So,
where are you in Queens right now?
I'm in Ridgewood is where I'm at. I got out here, during the pandemic, and it's just been such a, what it's like. I mean, like, I was in Manhattan for quite a while, tight spaces, very crowded. And now I got some little bit of breathing room, if you will, out here in Queens.
I think about Queens a lot because so many grinders came out of Queens, especially in 70s, 80s, early 90s. And I always wonder, like, what was it about Queens that produced that? My kids grew up on a farm in Vermont, and there was none of the stuff like Queens. At 5 and 6 years old, you were trying to get picked on the football team out in the street. You had to navigate cars, potentially running you over while you played football. Like, it was just a crazy, people were going to jail. It was crazy town. But when did you get into meditation? How long ago did you get into meditation, and why?
So 2007 is when I really started first meditating. With a lot of your listeners might have heard of transcendental meditation. It's actually what the Beatles went to India to study TM because they realized that taking too much acid was not possible. But it was really to deal with my anxiety. I moved to New York after like a real severe heartbreak, not knowing how, it just kind of woke me up to like, holy fuck, like, what life have I been living? And it definitely wasn't my own. And, I moved to New York in pursuit of creativity and trying to find myself, and ended up stepping into the acting world here in New York, not knowing anybody, training. And it really just found its way just to stay more calm, stay more present, let go of like stress and anxiety, and just really be clear and focused. And it's just been a continual transformative experience for me. And, once I started seeing how people like really reacted or like actually responded to meditation, I was like, oh yeah, this is really something that I need to be doing more of, and finding my way as a teacher with that in mind.
I don't know if you know this, but my mom in Queens, found a yogi in the 70s, early 70s, and got into yoga, meditation, health food. And this particular yogi believed in long distance running. And she was pushing all that stuff. We had a bunch of monks in our living room every day. It was very confusing for me being in an Italian neighborhood. What the hell is this? I'm embarrassed. By the time 2007 rolls around, when you get into it, it's a little more forgiving. The world's open-minded to it. Maybe thanks to the Beatles, as you said. I don't know. But to your point, I would see the folks that my mom roped into this different kind of lifestyle, and it would be transformative for them. And I think that's where Spartan comes from with me. I think I needed to put a cloak and a helmet around it to toughen it up for my own inadequacies or something, right? Like, and that's why I do what I do. It is pretty powerful. If anybody listening out there or watching this, it's pretty powerful when you get paid in other people's transformation. Like you feel,
God, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty incredible. So you find it in 2007, you start introducing it to people around you, and it becomes a thing that you gave up acting, or?
Yeah, I mean, it got to a point where I was just like, I really had to make a hard choice, a hard pivot. I'm like, do I want my life to be determined by other people's like decisions or bad days? You know what I mean? Versus like, do I want to build something that is really going to be sustainable, but also rewarding to me in a way that I'm really helping other people? And, with that question in mind, and also working to, just stay relaxed, stay more focused, and understanding how incredible meditation is, for the mind, I went deeper into the body and I started practicing and eventually teaching yoga, and I was an athlete, I played basketball all the way through college, and I wish I would have known these skills back in the day, like I'm an 80s and 80s kid, and I went to college through the 90s, and like just these two practices and others, but definitely yoga and meditation has just really helped me just to really just unleash the depth within me and power within me, physically and mentally, that I didn't even know I had. And to be able to teach that now and see people unleash that power within them is absolutely incredible. And I just keep showing up and to create more of it for my own, selfishness, because I just love oh my God, like, look what just happened to that dude, or that woman. And also because it's like, I think like in this world today, make calmer heads prevail. And that's my mission, to create more of that calmness within people, and then it expands within society, because it all starts with the self.
Are you using an app at all for folks to get some scale to this thing, or how are you interacting with the folks that you're transforming?
We have through the podcast, we have meditation courses. Like I teach here in New York City. I'm able to offer breath work and meditation through the podcast that we have. It's awesome. I mean, we have like live virtual classes that we do, which are where we have like teams of 20 people or 15 people that go through the course. And it's live interactive, because I think the apps, like you mentioned, are good and it's a great way to start. But one downside of the apps is you can't get your questions answered. And when people have a lot of questions when they start meditating, because it's like, what the fuck is all this about? Or what's going on in my head? Like, why can't I do this or that? So to have it actually in a classroom setting is really powerful.
For those people that are listening, or maybe they're stuck on the couch. Maybe they think this is a little wacky. Maybe they think this guy from Queens is nuts. I don't know, right? Because there was a stigma attached to it. Certainly and it's still a little bit of a stigma, I bet, for a bunch of folks. Walk people through, once they get over that, walk people through it. Like, how did they get started? What starts to happen, et cetera?
It starts with, a willingness and consistency. And, there's many different ways to get into these practices. Like I think of many different on-ramps to the superhighway of greater consciousness and more powerful human beings. I think it could really start for a lot of people is I help them just to get to know your breath. Just you don't even think about it as meditation. What really helps to unlock, and the reason it unlocks it because this helps you to detach from your emotional mind and, your expectations and the want to control things, just to get to know your breath, and then understand by just simply getting in touch with your breath and creating a really, you start to create a relationship to your breath is the way I like to explain it. It really begins to become very, very empowering, because what it does, it naturally, biologically, it helps you to let go of the thinking mind and the emotional mind, and really get down into the moment, because you're naturally releasing from all cortisol and adrenaline, which we're all can get hijacked with by, through stress and anxiety, and really get deeper into the moment. And just by getting to know your breath and having this natural clarity that comes through, it's once you know, you can't unknow. So it's just you're always going to be oh my God, I felt great. I felt relaxed. I feel more focused. I actually have a better mind that helps me to achieve more of my goals and actually creates better relationships to myself and other people. So it really becomes very empowering. And just by getting to understand and taking control of your breath. And then meditation is a little bit deeper because it has some technique. There's many different meditations. But if everyone listening just carves out 5 minutes a day, right, to really create a connection with their breath, and all the connection you need to do is really just create a deep breath, a deep calming breath. Like we all have the ability. Sometimes we lost that ability because like we're so like for decades jacked up on stress and anxiety. So we're always like have this shallow breath that really doesn't go much deeper than I see you nodding your head. You know this, right? But when we get that breath down deeper, it unlocks a biological brilliance that's within us. Again, once you know, you can't unknow. And it's just like, all right, I need more of that. And then what do I need to do that? And it's just a little bit of showing up every day for yourself. And it really starts to reap more benefits and things as you really begin to explore and get to know yourself on this deepest and most human and simple level.
I do my breath work inside the ice tub in the morning.
Yeah, I plunge too, man. Yeah.
No, I like that. And then explain to people who haven't stretched. There's a lot of people out there who's never stretched, never done yoga.
And I say in classes, like everyone's like, yoga is just stretching. And it is. There is a lot of stretching, but it's not just stretching the body. It's also stretching the mind. But it's also creating a lot of physical awareness. And it's like we forget, like in the world we're living in, with this hyperconnectivity, with all these messages nonstop, we just get wrapped up into this circus, everyone else's circus, instead of like really like, all right, well, who am I? Where am I? What do I need to do? Where do I want to go? How do I get there? Yoga is just going to help people get in touch with their body and just create physical awareness, which is going to open up more mental awareness, which is going to create more like situational awareness. And again, it's just empowering. What yoga's also going to be very helpful is just like we have patterns of thinking, right? Habits of thinking, we have also patterns of movement and the way we hold our body. And a lot of people, and I'm sure you've seen them, Joe, like are just in this like tech hunch all the time, whether it's their phone, whether it's a computer, closing off their chest, closing their shoulders, rounding their back. And then you try to open up. I mean, there's so much like when we hold our body in a certain way, right? We begin to activate energetically. But if we've been sitting for 10 years and just like crunching numbers or whatever, or like, keep checking our social media, like we begin to close the body down. We hold these habits. And yoga is going to help people to open up the doors and the windows of the body, releasing physical strain and stress, releasing anxiety, and really beginning to optimize the body, which is just going to lead to more optimization of the mind and optimization of experience. Like it's all just one beautiful system. I like to think of it as like we're a triangle of experience. We're breath, we're body, right? And we're mind. And it's just like you can let your mind control you, or you can let your body control you with its habits, or you can just be completely ignorant of your breath. But if you begin to control your breath and your mind and your experience physically, you really begin to be a different person in the world.
I'm under stress all day, every day, like most of us. And I was just near a mountain, and my go-to move is to grab a big rock and carry it up the mountain.
There you go. I'll challenge you.
Well, it forces me to breathe. I got this rock. I'm carrying it like a baby. It's up against my diaphragm. I got to breathe to get my breath. I'm sweating. I want to put it down. My mind quiets down because there's nothing else to focus on but getting this fucking rock up the mountain. And so I don't know. I go to an amazing place when I do stuff like that.
Well, I mean, you have like, there's, that's part of like how I teach the yoga practice. It's like constantly challenging. Cause it's like when you, just like an ice bath, just like you're carrying a rock up a hill, like when you begin to challenge yourself physically, that's all you could really, that's like the immediate thought. And then it's like, whoa, it's like, how am I with myself when I am in the state of challenge? And we can learn a lot from continually putting ourselves into that paradigm, into that crucible. And that's where we really begin, oh, wait, like, why am I thinking this way? It's like, oh, wait, actually, I need more strength here or in my mind or in my body in some ways. I need to find more breath, right, in order to bring that energy into my body. It's like challenge is the way forward. I mean, that's why I love, the Spartan race is just a fantastic challenge. There's a community element built in, which is like very inspiring. It's part of it, but it's just like, if you want to be a better person and more optimized and unleash and levels of yourself that you don't even know was possible. It's through challenge. You're challenging your beliefs, challenging physically, challenge within your relationships or your work. It's like you really got to stretch, and stretch in the sense of like stretch what you think is possible, because that's when you really begin to learn.
What do you say to them as like what they're going to go through? Is it going to uncover a bunch of stuff they've been carrying their whole life? What do you see with the men you're helping?
Well, I mean, there's different layers, really. I mean, it starts with when I teach like this meditation course, it's like the first 3 weeks, I'm just trying to calm them down. That's it. Just get the calm, right? And when you begin to create a calmer sense of being overall, and a lot of it is done through getting to know your breath and practicing certain breathing techniques. It's just like a lot of men, when they do this, like they say, it's like amazing. It's the same line every time. When they get to calm, they're like, eventually they open up to the fact, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I've been such an asshole all these years. I mean, that's like one of the first realizations, and then it's just like, but with that realization, you begin to see that with yourself. I mean, you're being an asshole to yourself. Like you can treat yourself, like I'm sure you have, Joe, and myself too. Like you can treat yourself absolutely horribly, but it's like, and that doesn't work. That doesn't help anybody, especially yourself. And then it's just like, oh my God, like, look how I've been treating other people. And so that's like, and it goes into a deeper layers of like, it can go deeper into relationship. It can go deeper into, your mind and your body. And you just slowly begin to, with these practices, you just begin to recognize habit. And like one thing about habit, it doesn't care. It has no bias as far as it can be a bad habit or a good habit, right? We're the determining factor here. Like our consciousness, our awareness, being present in the moment allows us to be like, oh, wait, and how do I want to show up here? Who do I want to be? And how do I continue that path forward?
We have those caveman goals, right? Like those 3 things we chase.
Provider, protector, conqueror. Yeah. If you continually be more successful in this world and thrive in this environment that is just only moving forward, is I think one thing with men that is required now and more than ever is an emotional literacy. Like really getting to understand yourself on a deep emotional level, because so you're not controlled by them. Like you have to know, I think biggest thing with men that I like to teach, and it's easy on ramp, is understanding your anger and how it controls you and what triggers your anger. And once you start to just start that one thing, because anger is like coming back to that little emotional box that we talked about. It's like anger is the most rewarded emotional experience for men. So it's very first nature for us to be angry. But like when you're angry in every situation, because of you're trying to control the situation or your expectations aren't being met or for whatever reason, and you start to see anger as a great teacher, but like as a huge obstacle to opportunity, then you can really begin to change and transform, because you can also see how it affects you physically. I mean, flat out, it's like we get angry, we feel this rise of anger, it starts to take over, anxiety, adrenaline are running the roost, and you just like, and you're just literally, you get blind. Like when we're really jacked up on anger, our biological systems shut down everything that isn't essential in order to get us away from what we perceive as a threat. And it's like when we stop seeing the world as a perceived threat because we're jacked up on anger, things really begin to change. We begin to change. We begin to see the world as more of an opportunity instead of that threat. So I think that's one thing that definitely I work with. I'm really helping to teach men. It's like, because that one, it's just like anything. It's like once you start to see anger for what it is, then you can start looking at other emotions and analyze those. But using anger as a primary experience and a primary teacher of emotional experience, you can really start to just like, it's like, oh, fuck, I don't need to be an asshole anymore. Like, why am I doing that to myself and other people? So anger is a great on-ramp or a great teacher to help you to understand your experience and the effect that your experience with anger is having on other people and yourself.
I would say from my experience, because I went through that phase in the 70s, 80s as a little kid, not being open-minded to your modalities that you're pushing, I would say that carrying a rock up the mountain, if you feel like you need to be a little more manly for whatever reason, doing hard shit also softens the edges and takes, at least that's my experience.
No, exactly. It's like you almost need to, like, doing the hard shit. You need to burn through, like, the fact, oh, it's so fucking hard. Like, why am I doing this? You need to burn through that conversation that leads you and takes you nowhere. And actually, it actually takes your power away. And then get on the other side. It's like, all right, this is my experience right now. What do I need to do in order to get this rock up the hill? And that's it. And it's like, wait, one foot in front of the other, find my breath, tell myself something great. Like, dude, you're badass. Just keep going. One foot in front of the other. Keep going. Look at how far you got, right? Be your own little coach on the inside. And when you can start to mentor yourself and teach yourself and inspire yourself in that way, where are you going to see that in your family, your friends, your work? Like, it just, you're right, Joe. It's just like continually add challenge to yourself every day or several times a week to just check yourself, before you go out and, wreck yourself and other people, if you will.
I don't know when my City Field event is. I think it's in the spring of 26. I think we should have you come and we should hold like an 8,000 person like meditation.
Yeah, let's do it. They used to have something in the city pre-COVID called the Big Quiet, which I love the name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we can do some breathing and meditation. And just like, because it's the triad of experience. It's mind, body, and breath. And like the body is really powerful, and it's going to help you it's really important to stay strong, really important to be resilient and flexible, to create that kind of stability and balance in your mind and your body. But like these next level of like understanding your mind, understanding, what men get very hung up on is our emotions. One thing about men that I think is important for your teacher or your listeners to know, it's like most men, and we kind of just fall into this trap because of our coaches, because of our teachers, because of our fathers, of just being provider, protector, and conqueror. And those roles are very important in the world. I mean, this is like how man is designed. But it's just like if we just identify only with those three experiences, we get locked into like an emotional box. Whereas like, what about being more kind, more patient, mentoring, being a teacher in some ways? And it just requires a different skill set that could be absolutely found and worked on and experienced. But it just takes a little bit of work and a lot of like patience, and kindness, so lots to learn.
You got to unlock those areas that we weren't taught to unlock. So I love what you're doing.
Yeah, man.
I'd ask you to, tell us three things as a parting gift. I guess you'd say breath work, meditation, yoga.
Three things is let go of your ideas of this work is what I'll say. Like, just like jump in. I mean, and I'll tell you what, you really want to transform and change and challenge yourself, cold plunge. Just fucking get in some cold plunge. It'll be such a great teacher because you have to find your breath in order to stay in that water for an extended duration, right? It's going to challenge yourself mentally. And I say this for men, because it's like, because it takes like one thing that you really want to wake up men, you got to challenge their courage, and it's just like, and if cold plunging and like, I had a chance actually to train with Wim Hof, like back in 2017 before he really blew up. And it's just like, that is a great way, a great on-ramp to see what you're made of and see what you can be made of and see what is getting in the way in order to be that person you want to be. So that's definitely one thing. And it's just like, take time, just 5 minutes every day to do nothing, right? Like we're like, as that provider, protector, conqueror, always in that doing space, doing. It's like, what's in the non-doing space? Because it's like, we're in this paradox of experience all the time. No up without a down. How do we know what right is without knowing left, right? So what is doing and non-doing, right? And getting into that non-doing space a little bit every day and just find your breath in that non-doing space and just fucking do nothing for 5 minutes. And watch how that starts to be like, it could really be very transformative. And the last thing is like, stay in your body. And if you're not in your body a little bit every day, then like you're only accessing like a very small portion of your experience. Strengthen your body and work with it and keep it supple and flexible as well. And you can just really be super badass when you're really honoring who you are as a human being and how you can optimize that experience. How
do people find you? Like just from the podcast or?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. My handle is @WillNotFear. The podcast is Men Talking Mindfulness. We've been at it for coming up on 6 years. It's been such a joy. We've had some real rock star guests on the show, like Jocko Willink and all these New York Times bestselling authors. It's awesome to do this. And I co-host with a Navy SEAL. So we got this like hippie guru from New York City and the Navy SEAL coming together in order to deliver these mindful messages. But and my personal website where I do coaching is Will Not Fear, again, WILLNOTFEAR.com. And you can find them on Instagram as well and X. But
I love it. You're the man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, Joe, this has been a lot of fun. I thank you. A little love from Queens today.
Little love from Queens.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. It's been a pleasure to be here.